Big reveal. How's everyone tonight? Thank you so much for having me and listening to me speak for a few minutes. As I mentioned, thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate it. Great job. Really professional. They asked how to pronounce my last name, which is often mispronounced, so brownie points right away. As I mentioned, my name is Joe Gintu. I'm actually relatively local. I grew up in Thousand Oaks, and I went to high school just in this area. Can I see a show of hands? How many people either currently attend Chaminade or their parents have attended Chaminade? All right, good contingent. Cool, well, a couple moons ago, I was flying high when I was at Chaminade. I was prom king. I starred in the high school play. I was the captain of the basketball team, although JV team, but still captain. I felt invincible, and life was beautiful. One of the things I loved, I held my cap on, was volunteering. Volunteered at local church, summer camps, hospital, homeless shelters, and it really opened my eyes to the world. And I love that that's what you guys are doing, building that foundation in yourselves. And one of the biggest challenges for me of trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up was both my parents immigrated from the Philippines in the early 1970s. They gave up everything. They sacrificed their family back at home, their friends, their comfort, to try to find a new life for us kids. So I felt it my duty and responsibility to do well in life, do well with my career, do well financially. I felt like I owed that to them. And hey, who doesn't want to do well? But I had this pull of I also wanted to do good. And how could I reconcile doing well and doing good? How could I be at a homeless shelter while trying to accelerate my career? And that always pulled at me. Fast forward a few moons. As I mentioned, I'm currently the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, and a board member at Angel City Sports. And that organization, and let me see a show of hands also how many people have heard of the organization or volunteered to be involved. This is amazing. I was expecting a few more than the Chaminade number. Wow. Well, firstly, thank you for those who've been involved from the bottom of my heart. I'll do a quick intro of what the organization is, and then I'll kind of tell you what impact those who raise your hands have had directly on me. So Angel City Sports is a local nonprofit founded here in Southern California to give access to sport to those with physical disabilities and visual impairments. It's something that people don't really think about. As I was growing up, as I was able-bodied, I'd play sports, go to PE, but through the years I've met people, when they go to PE, they had to sit on the side. They had to go inside a classroom and do some busy work or coloring because they couldn't participate in physical activities. Now, the barrier to entry to be active is you need special equipment. You need a sports chair, which costs between $3,000 and $5,000. For those with one limb, you need a running blade, $10,000 to $20,000. And most people don't have access to that type of, one, those accommodations, but two, even knowing that that's possible. So my first time I went to Angel City Games, and this is where those who raised their hand who volunteered or know their organization coming into play, it was their first games at UCLA. No idea what it was, but as I went up through the parking garage at UCLA into the John Wooden Center, I was greeted, this is a vivid memory I'll always remember. I was greeted by a flurry of volunteers, applauding and making me feel special. When you have a disability, a lot of times you're left for the breadcrumbs. You don't get the attention, let's accommodate you, let's do this. But this was an event that Angel City Sports held called Angel City Games, that we were the center. We got the swag bags, we were going in the John Wooden Center. And like I said, the people who raise their hands that have been involved in Angel City Sports, you're the ones who made that happen. You're the ones that made me feel special and wanted and needed. So thank you, and know that that's how it ties to Angel City Sports, but wherever you're volunteering or whatever you're doing, know that it has an impact, directly or indirectly, and keep on doing it. In my journey of doing well and doing good and trying to reconcile, the doing good has never faltered. And no matter what you do, I encourage you, and it's so amazing that what you guys are doing in this organization, that you're already on that path, and to be such an amazing part of society, so thank you. Now, let me give you another example of Angel City Sports, of what the magic is that has happened there and sort of what people in the physical disabled community go through. We have quarterly events, or we have events throughout the year, but big cornerstone events quarterly. At one of our big events called Angel City Games, there's about 20 to 30 different types of sports where people with disabilities, allies, friends, etc. can attend and try the equipment, understand what it's like. And there was one event where this family from Arizona came in and traveled, and this girl had a neurological disorder. She appeared normal. She could walk and talk and do everything normal, she just couldn't stand for prolonged periods of time. So she was also excluded from sport. So this family from Arizona packed up in their minivan, drove to USC, was where this event was held that year. And there was a fencing clinic, adaptive fencing. Any fencers in the house? No, fencer, up. One, saber, epee, foil? Foil, there you go. So you might have seen the movie, so fencing, you kind of go back and forth and do different things with the swords, right? So adaptive fencing is you switch over to a special chair, similar, not too dissimilar than this wheelchair, and you kind of fence with somebody else sitting in another chair. The smile on this girl's face lit up everybody. For the 10 minutes that she was doing the clinic, I'm like, I've never seen anybody happier than that. And she just didn't know that this was possible, that this existed, that there were people around her that were going through similar things, that she didn't have to be the one sitting on the sidelines of PE or have special accommodations, that this was something that she could do to stay active. And after the 10-minute session, she left, or she got out of the chair, and her mom, who was crying already, said, "Oh, what'd you think?" The girl said, "I love it." I said, "Well, let's see if we can get you some equipment. Let's see if we can maybe start a GoFundMe and fundraise for some fencing swords and other equipment." And the coach, who was a Paralympian athlete himself, said, "Don't worry about it. Take some of my swords. Take some of my equipment." And like, that smile that girl had turned into like tears, happy and good tears, but it's just the magic of community, the magic of helping each other is there. So again, I just want to reinforce that you can, as you progress in your life, in your career, do well, but never forget that you can also do good. And they don't have to be incongruent. And you can either carve out time to volunteer at homeless shelters or look at leadership roles in nonprofits like I currently have today. So we've gone through maybe half the talk, and I haven't talked about the metal elephant in the room, which is my wheelchair, and I know they said a bit about it in the introduction. So go back in time to March 12, 2007. Beautiful day in Honolulu, Hawaii. We were there with me, my girlfriend, just attended a cousin's wedding a few days earlier. Took a surfing lesson. Went surfing for about 90 minutes, and my back hurt a little bit, but I only likened it to, if you do 90 minutes of sit-ups, if you haven't done a sit-up before, that your abs would hurt. That's what I thought what was happening with my back. Time went on, a couple hours, and it got worse and worse. We saw a doctor, and he said, "Lie down. Getting you to the ER, getting you in an MRI machine, like, don't move." And here I was, the feeling was equivalent to just, sore abs, but it was a sore back. What's happening? What's going on? Rushed me to an ambulance to the ER. They said, "We don't have any MRIs available." Well, get this guy an MRI. Within 10 minutes, I was in an MRI. And they told me it was something called Sever's myelopathy, something very rare. Didn't know much about it yet. Got an MRI. I don't know how many have been in MRI, but the half an hour, my mind was thinking, "This is it?" The doctor seemed pretty nervous and scared, like, what, this might be it. If it's not, it seems pretty drastic or dramatic. How does this impact my life, my girlfriend, my career? More importantly, I had a St. Patrick's Day party scheduled on Saturday. Would have to cancel that. So come to find out, it was again, a non-traumatic injury because I just went surfing. Apparently it's a stroke to the spinal cord by arching your back on the surfboard. Again, for those who have surfed or that are wanting to, there's some things out there of, for your first time. It usually happens for first-time surfers. Just take your time and don't do an hour and a half like I did, and if there's pain, then stop. But it's not to not do something, it's more just, again, this is a rare occurrence that happened, so happened to me. So I want to leave you with 3 things that I learned from that, because one thing I hate to guarantee you, but I will guarantee you, is everybody in this room will encounter adversity in their life. Will encounter adversity personally, with a loved one, family, friend. Could be illness, death, a failed test, a broken relationship, anything. 3 things that I'll leave you that I learned through my paralysis and how to fight to get better, or how to fight to overcome, that I'll leave with you. 3 things are foundation, presence and gratitude, and balance. Say foundation, lower, presence, top, and balance. So talk through each of those real quickly. So foundation. As I mentioned, I went to Chaminade. I live in Thousand Oaks. My first 2 years when I couldn't drive, my dad would drive his 1990 Toyota Tercel, 400,000 miles on it, amazing. I say he's in real estate. He worked at Forest Lawn selling cemetery property, so he's in real estate, but he had a tough job, and he's consistently met with no, right? You're trying to sell something, no. What did he do? He listened to cassette. Do you guys know what cassette tapes are? He listened to cassette tapes of Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, be positive, overcome adversity. When you fall, get back up. Just these things that motivated him as a salesman. And here I was, little Joe, freshman, sophomore year of high school, just sitting there looking out the window, looking at traffic. And that seeped into my veins, my blood, my bones. That formulated my foundation of just, that's what I was consuming. So I challenge you to be intentional and proactive about what you consume. With social media, with news, with everything out there. See if you're consuming what you want to with positive talks, like TED Talks, spiritual advisors, whatever it might be. Just know that you don't have to be a victim of what you consume, that you can control it. Because that's so important, especially in today's age. And I'm just so grateful that just by happenstance, that's what I consumed. These Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar, which is, I don't know, if you know Brene Brown or Adam Grant, they're sort of the new age people around that, but that's one thing. So foundation. And with that is be intentional about people you surround yourself with, who you hang out with, who you spend your time with. Because that also was so fundamental to me to get through that adversity. Is having a strong base of family and friends. Foundation. Next is presence and gratitude. So for me, it was hard to always really fight through and get rid of some of the demons that were in my head of how do I overcome this. And a lot of times, time just flies and we just lose track of what's going on around us. So what I've learned to hone in on is presence and being grateful for the moment that we have. Because when I got hurt, nothing in the past mattered. What I didn't do, nothing in the future mattered. I wasn't guaranteed anything. All we have is right now. All we have is right now. And I know this is December with Christmas and there's lots of noise and things happening. And before you know it, it's New Year's Day. Like, where did December go? I have a life hack. How do you slow down time? Slow down time by being present. How do you get to be present? There's many people who have different ways. Meditation, breathing, other types of things. I like to do with my kids 5 senses. What do you see right now? What do you hear right now? What do you smell right now? What do you touch and taste? That one's always like, I taste like this weird coffee taste in my mouth, but it makes me hone into that. So anyways, presence. So foundation, presence, and the last thing is balance. So my mind, I always believe in some balance of mind, body, and spirit, whatever you're doing. So I can research physical therapy as much as I want without doing something physical to do it, nothing's gonna happen. So as you go through what you're doing, Always depending what's happening, if you're studying for finals, maybe you're going to the gym less. Like, just be intentional and know that there are levers to this balance that you can adjust. I want to make a point that I am not who I am today and have accomplished what I have despite my adversity, but I am who I am today and have accomplished what I've accomplished because of my adversity. And I challenge you that anytime you encounter those lows, they're going to be really hard. They're going to be tough. And some of the times it takes time, but always know that there's some nugget of beauty that can come out of it, whether you know it or not, and it might be not even for you, it might be for someone else. But just know that you are who you are because of what you go through. So a few things again I'll leave with you is, one, keep on doing good while trying to do well. Never forget that, and you guys are well on your way with what you're doing as part of this organization. 2, in order to prepare for that adversity you for sure will encounter, challenge yourself on foundation, what are you consuming, presence and gratitude, how are you showing up, and balance. What are those levers, and are they where you want them to be currently, or how you want to project them to be? And lastly, I'll do a PSA for those who have been involved in Angel City Sports. Thanks again. For those who haven't, please check us out on social media. The co-founder, Ezra Freck, was born with one arm and one leg, and he just won 2 gold medals at the Paris Paralympics. And he's at these events all the time too, and he brings his gold medals, so if you want to go check him out, check out the medals, meet Ezra, get a picture. Again, it's more than that, it's about the community, so please come out to the events. Again, do well, do good. Foundation, presence, balance, Angel City, go Rocket, you guys are awesome. Thanks for volunteering, thanks for all you do. Thanks for having me today.
Okay, gentlemen.